Hello and welcome. This is a quick tutorial to help you all with your homework problems. So this is section 9.4. I have screenshotted some of your homework problems which I think were important, and let's go ahead and work them out. This is the first problem that you see. It says in part A through C, find the indicated quantity for y is equal to f of x, which is equal to 7 minus x squared. So here my f of x is 7 minus x squared. All right, let's see what they want. So here is my function, and here is the tangent. We're going to talk about tangents in a minute. So here they want us to find, the first thing they want us to find is f of 2 minus f of 1 over 2 minus 1. To begin with, I'm going to go ahead and start to find. First, I'm going to write down my function. My function is f of x is equal to, what was it, 7 minus x squared. And I am trying to find f of 2, and I'm trying to find f of 1. So let's go. 7 minus, in place of x, I will be replacing my x with 2, and I'll be replacing my x with 1. So this is, I always like to put parentheses, even though it's positive, just to make sure I am not making any mistakes. So 7 minus 4 is 3. 7 minus 1 squared, which is 7 minus 1, which is 6. Once I have this, all I have to do is go back here and plug it in. So this is going to be f of 2, is we found out it's 3, f of 1, which is 6, divided by 2 minus 1, which is negative 3. So I just wanted to show you that your answers do match. Okay, now let's look at the next one. Here in the next one, let me zoom this in. Okay, in the next one here, they're asking us to find, they said, hey, I want you all to find f of 1 plus h minus f of 1 divided by h. So we're going to do it step by step. So the first step would be, let me see if I have enough space here. Yes, I do. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line. See how straight the line is? So I'm going to go ahead and find f of 1 plus h first. Remember what my function f of x was? 7 minus x squared. So in place of x, I'm replacing it with 1 plus h. So it is 7 minus 1 plus h whole squared, which is simply 7 minus, I'm going to go ahead and put these big parentheses because I don't like to make mistakes with my positives and negatives, which I usually tend to do. So I always like to have them in parentheses. So 1 plus h whole squared is 1 plus 2h plus h squared. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and distribute this negative sign to every term here. And what's going to happen is 7 minus 1 minus 2h minus h squared. And I can combine these two to get 6 minus 2h minus h squared. And remember what they asked us? They asked us to find f of 1 plus h, which we did. And they asked us to subtract f of 1 and divide with h. So let's do it. So I'm trying to find f of 1 plus h minus f of 1 divided by h. So this is my f of 1 plus h, 6 minus 2h minus h squared, minus f of 1. We found out what f of 1 is, which is 6. It's right here. F of 1 is 6. Okay, and again, always have your pen and paper with you when you're doing math, because it's always easy for you to go back and see what the previous problems were. And then divide by h. Now look what happens. Positive 6, negative 6, boom, they're canceled. And now what I like to do is negative 2h divided by h minus h squared divided by h. I like to do this. I mean, you don't have to. I like to do this because I'm making sure I'm dividing every term. So what do I have? H and h, boom, cancel. Negative 2, h and h cancel. I'm left with h. So this is what I have. -2 minus h. And let's see if the answer matches. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, yes, it did. There you go. And the third one is to go ahead and plug your limit. H goes to 0. So we did all of this. We got this. And I'm simply plugging in my limit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this one. I'm going to use a different color, draw a straight line, and then I'm going to say limit h goes to 0, -2 minus h. And from your limits, you know that limit of -2, because it's a constant, it's -2. Limit h goes to 0, -h is 0, so minus 0. Your final answer is -2. And let's see if that matches. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, it does. So that's how you do it. You do it step by step. Once that's done, I'm going to pause for a second to see if you have any. Of course, I can't answer your questions, but you can go ahead and paste it in the chat. And now let's move on to the next one. Again, please, it's very important you read what they're asking you for. You kind of comprehend the question and then move forward with it. I purposefully left the answers so you can see our answers match and how to get to that kind of answers. So here the question says, for f of x is equal to, so I have this f of x is equal to 1 over 4 plus x squared. That's a function. For some f of x is equal to 1 over 4 plus x squared, the slope of the graph, so they already gave us the slope of the graph of this random y is equal to f of x is -6 over 169 at a point, and they also give me a point, with x coordinate 3. Now what they're asking me to do is they said find the equation of the tangent line at that point. Now quickly, let me go ahead. I'm going to zoom in right here. So if I have a curve, let's just say I have a curve like this. The word tangent means touching. So if I'm drawing a line, a tangent to this curve, which is not a straight line. A tangent to this line is, let me move this line closer so you can see. A tangent is a line touching the curve exactly at one point. And as you can see, a tangent is a line. So equation of a tangent is going to be equation of a line. And this point right here is a point where it touches, where it follows the equation of the line and also follows equation of the curve, because it's the same point that the tangent and the curve are intersecting. Okay, and tangent is only one point, keep that in mind. Well, a secant is going to be 2 points. Now that we know the concept, what are they telling me? They're telling me, hey, this is some curve, and I want you to find the tangent of that curve with the slope -6 over 169 and the x coordinate 3. That means this point is 3 something. Okay, so that's the point. Now let's go back to basics. Again, the prerequisite for this class is math 1314 or 1324. So you should be doing difference of quotients, or you should also be doing equation of lines. Equation of a line is, which color? Let's pick pink, why not? Equation of a line is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Equation of a line given slope. Now wait a minute, do I have my slope? Yes, they give me the slope. They said the slope is, what did they say? Yeah, -6 over 169. And to find the equation of this line, what all do you need? You need your y1, you need your x1. But wait a minute, did they give you y1? They said, hey, the x coordinate is 3. But you have to find your y1, and how do you do that? Remember, we know that this little point is the same point that lies on the line and also lies on the curve. But do I have the equation of the curve? Yes, I do. What's my equation of the curve? The equation of the curve is 1 over 4 plus x squared. Now if I take this 3, and plug into the equation, I will get my y value. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the 3. So I'm going to say 1 over 4 plus 3 squared, which is 1 over 13. So now, just like that, I have a slope, I have my x, and I have my y. What do? I plug it into the equation. Y minus y1 is 1 over 13 is equal to slope negative 6 over 169, parentheses, x minus x1 is 3. Bingo. That's the slope. No, that's the equation of your tangent. But here what you have to understand is the key is this point 3 lies on the line and also on the curve. So that's the trick here. That's the key. So from using that x, you have to find your y. Now that we've done that, let's go on to the next problem. Again, you can pause this video and rewind to see if you have any questions. So I'm going to come back to this one later, but before I do that, I want to do the 4-step process. So let's see what the hush push is about the 4-step. And this is a calculus class. What's important is to understand the difference between algebra and calculus. Algebra is static. Calculus is you are looking at the dynamic rate of change. In algebra, you will find the function value. In calculus, you will find the rate of change. In algebra, you'll plug in the function. In calculus, you will find the slope or the derivative of the function. So it's different, but one feeds into the other. So let's see what the 4-step process is. In the 4-step process, the first step is to find f of x plus h. Your second step is to subtract f of x minus, your second step is to subtract your f of x from your f of x plus h. Your third step is to divide this with h. If you've taken algebra before, this probably will ring a bell. This is called difference of quotient. And if you look closely here, what you're doing here is finding the difference in x values and dividing them with the difference in y values, which is nothing but your slope. And that's exactly what calculus is all about, finding the rate of change. And the fourth step is you will plug in your limit when h goes to 0, and you will see what the entire difference is all about. So step 1 is finding f of x plus h. Step 2 is subtracting it from the previous one. Step 3 is dividing. Step 4 is plugging in your limit. Okay, let's keep that simple. Now that we know that, let's go ahead and find the 4-step process for this quadratic equation. To do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to gauge and see how much space I have. Okay, that's good enough. I'm going to start with my step 1. Step 1 is finding f of x plus h. What's my f of x? So let me, in red, write my f of x. What is my f of x? X squared plus 6x minus 3. So step 1 is to find f of x, which I am, which is, remember, you simply replace your x with x plus h. So every time you see x, you replace it with x plus h. So this is x plus h squared plus 6 times x plus h minus 3. I will go ahead and simplify. X plus h all squared is x squared plus 2xh plus h squared plus 6x, I'm distributing, plus 6h minus 3. Once I have it, what's my second step? My second step is f of x plus h minus f of x. So that means I'm subtracting. So what I'm going to do is I'm bringing down my f of x, which is I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste. I'm going to cheat here. So I'm bringing down my f of x plus h. And what am I doing? I'm subtracting my f of x. What's my f of x? X squared plus 6x minus 3. I don't know if you noticed, but every time I subtract an expression, I put that in parentheses just so that I can avoid or I cannot forget distributing the negative sign. So this negative sign gets distributed. Do not forget that. One simple mistake, boom, your entire answer is wrong. I'm going to rewrite this one. Actually, I am going to cheat again and I'm going to paste it. Okay. Minus x squared, distributing it, minus 6x plus 3. So what I did was, this is my f of x plus h minus f of x. I distribute the minus sign and rewrite it. Now that I've rewritten, let me go ahead and see if I can cancel anything. Boom, boom, x squared gone. 6x gone. 3 gone. Now I'm going to give you a cheat sheet here. If you look closely, I'm going to zoom this in. The only terms that are left out are the terms that have an H in them. Do you see that? And if you see a term that does not have an H, you made a mistake. So you have to go back and recheck. So that's a little cheat sheet here. Okay, so step 2 is done. What about step 3? Step 3 is f of, you don't have to write all of this if you know what the steps are. Step 3 is dividing by h. So step 1 is finding f of x. Step 2 is step 1 is finding f of x plus h. Step 2 is subtracting. Step 3 is dividing. Step 4 is plugging in the limit. So this is 2xh plus h squared plus 6h divided by h. Again, a cheat sheet here. What I'm going to do, I like to divide each and every time. You don't have to do this, but I like to do it this way so you can see and you're not making mistakes with dividing. So as you can see, I divided each term, h, boom, h gone, h gone. So what I have right now is 2x, 2x plus h plus 6. So now my fourth step, step 4. What do? F of x plus h minus f of x over h. And what do I plug in? I don't have space for that one. I'm just going to move this to the side here. And I have to plug in my limit. H goes to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and this is my fourth step. I'm going to move this just slightly to the top. And I'm going to put a different color here so you can see this is your step 3. Once you have your step 3, all you have to do is plug in your limit. So I'm going to find, so this is limit h goes to 0, 2x plus h plus 6. Now you can follow the rules of limit and do everything separately, but I'm assuming you'll have done that before. So limit h goes to 0 for 2x. Wait a minute, I don't even have an h there. So limit h goes to 0, 2x is nothing but 2x. Limit h goes to 0, the value of h is when h is going to 0, the limit is 0. And this is again a constant. Limit of 6 when h goes to 0 is 6. Oops, there's a plus sign. So now finally, I end up with 2x plus 6. Now if you want, let me zoom this in. If you want, you can separate this one and say limit h goes to 0, 2x plus limit h goes to 0, h plus limit h goes to 0, h and 6. When h goes to 0, what's the function value? Simple logic. I don't see a h here, so this is 2x. That's what I got. Limit h goes to 0 for h is 0. That's what I got. This is a constant, limit doesn't matter. That's what I have. So this is your 4-step process. Now you might say, Miss, what am I doing here in the 4-step process? What you're doing here is finding the rate of change with respect to h, or rate of change with respect to x here. And this is nothing but your slope, this is nothing but your velocity, and this is nothing but your derivative. And how do I write the final step? So this, in this 4-step process, this is a 4-step process. Let me zoom that in. Step 1, where is the checkbox? Let me use a different color. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And in the 4-step process, after all of this, you get this answer here, which, let me change the color. It's right here, you get this answer here, and that answer is your derivative. That answer is your rate of change, and that answer is your velocity. And how do I write that? F, that little hyphen on the top, is 2x plus 6. Now this is the way to get to the derivatives. Once you move on to the next chapter and you find the formulas of derivatives, you'll be like, Miss, why did you make us do all of this? But again, it's always nice to know, right? So this is what you get with the 4-step process. Remember, again, this is your velocity, this is your slope, this is your derivative, all of this. And once I have this, let's check if the answer is right or wrong. Yes, the answer matches. Now, what are they asking me? They're saying, hey, once you have this, find f prime of 1, or the derivative at 2, the value at 3. And you know what to do. You will simply go ahead, replace your x with these values. 2 times 1 plus 6 is 8. 2 times 2 plus 6 is 10. 2 times 3 plus 6 is 12. And let's see if our answers match. This is 8, bingo, 10, bingo, 12. And again, if you're having any confusion, I want you to stop, rewind, and replay, just so that you understand this difference of quotient, which is your velocity, your slope, and your derivative. All right, now let's move on to the next one. I'm going to pull, oh, I have an empty page, good. Now let's look at this one. I'm going to keep this very simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw this. So here they're asking me, sketch the graph and determine where f is non-differentiable. So I'm going to go ahead and let me copy this one really quick. Does it let me copy it? Let's see. No, it does not. Don't worry about it. So I have my function f of x. Again, this is a piecewise function. Is for f 5x for x less than 1. And it's 5 for x less than or equal to 1. Let me make sure that's correct. Oh, this is greater than, of course. It has to be greater than or equal to 1. Again, this is a piecewise function, so I'm not going to define piecewise functions here. I'm just going to show you. You should know what piecewise functions are. So I'm going to go ahead and graph this, and I'm going to show you. So I'm graphing from x less than 1. So let me see, where is my 1? My 1 is right here. So x less than 1. When it's x less than 1, my graph is 5x. So this is 1. 5x, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Y'all can use your graphing calculators as well. So less than 1, that's my value 5, 1 and 5, right? When I plug 1, my x value is 5. I'm going to erase this, you don't need this here. So my graph will be something, wow, what a straight line. My graph will be something like that. Let me fix this for you. Yep, I'm going to bring this. Actually, I'm going to extend this one. So that's my graph. And because I draw so well, no, never mind. This is my point. I'm trying to make sure I get to this. It's an open circle. I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay. And again, because this is less than, that's going to be open circle. And from greater than or equal to 1, it's 5. And this is the line x is equal to, this is the line y is equal to 5, right? This is the line y is equal to 5. Oh my God, I can't draw today. You can use your graphing calculator to do that. I'm going to keep it very simple. Do you see the sharp curve here, or the sharp edge? When you see a sharp edge like that, you cannot differentiate the function. As simple as that. That means I cannot differentiate the function at the value x is equal to 1. So when you see those sharp curves here, you cannot differentiate the function. So you don't have to do all the math. Just look at the graph. And this is my option. You can graph it in your graphing calculator and see how the graph looks. If you see a sharp edge, boom, you cannot find the differentiation of it. All right, now that we've done all of this, remember I promised to go back to this one. I think you will have the pretty much same kind of problem, but different numbers. An object is dropped from a tower. To draw a tower here, this is a tower. And I'm going to draw an object. I'm going to draw an object in the color green. Okay, and I want you all to focus here. Let me draw the ground. Ground is brown color, right? Okay. I am going to draw the ground. This is the ground. So what's happening is they're taking this object and they're dropping it on the ground. Taking the object, dropping it on the ground. Taking the object, dropping it on the ground. Okay, very good. So what they're asking me is, they're saying, hey, we're taking the object, dropping it on the ground. I didn't read after that. The object's height above the ground is given by this equation. Is given by s of x is equal to 256 minus 16x squared. So the height, this height, as you see, it's right here, and it's here, and it's here, and it's here, and it's here. So this height is represented by this equation, sx is equal to 256 minus 16x squared. And they're asking about how long. When they say how long, they're asking you for the time. And here, it clearly says x seconds. So if it is 4 seconds, this is when it's 0 seconds. When the object is on the tower, it's 0 seconds. After 1 second, the object goes here, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds, 8 seconds. I don't know how long it's going to take. If it's a feather, it's going to take forever. If it's a rock, it's going to be faster, right? Because the gravitation plays a role. So that's exactly what this s of x is doing. It's telling, or it's giving you the distance after x seconds. All right, once you know that, what are they asking me? They're asking me how long does it take for the object to hit the ground. This is my object. To hit the ground, how long does it take? 1, 2. Again, it depends on what the object is, but they gave us the equation, so we'll just figure it out from there. But what I want you to notice is, as I'm getting closer to the ground, do you see the distance between the ground and the object is becoming smaller and smaller? When the object hits the ground, what's the distance? 0. There's no distance between them. Right? So that's what we are going to, that's the key. That's why I had to do this visually so you can see. So let's do the first step. I'm going to come back to the second step later, but let's take a look at the first step. So this distance, when the object hits the ground, is a big fat 0. Because there is no distance between the object and the ground when it hits the ground. Right? And they're asking me how long. That means they're asking me for the time. And the time here is x seconds. So I'm going to bring this 16 to the other side. It becomes positive. 16x squared is 256. Divided by 16. X squared is equal to 16. X is equal to square root of 16. And x is equal to 4. Now I say, what is 4? This is 4 seconds. Remember, this is time. X here is time. So at 4 seconds, the object hits the ground. So the first part is done. Let's see if that is correct. Oh yeah, it is correct. Now the second part is to find the velocity. Again, remember what we did previously. Velocity is nothing but the differentiation, the rate of change, and the difference of quotient. So let's go ahead and find the velocity. To find the velocity, what you have to do is I need some space. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this one here. I'm going to leave this one right here. This looks nice here. Why not? And now let's go ahead and tackle the velocity problem. So here I have my function s of x is equal to 256 minus 16x squared. Okay? And again, velocity is nothing but rate of change with respect to time. And this is your time. That means you're going to do your 4-step process to find your your derivative of your function. And what's my 4-step process? My first step is to find s of x plus h. Okay, what do? 256 minus 16. Instead of x, what do? Replace with x plus h whole squared, which is 256 minus 16 x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. Do not forget to bring your negative with the 16. 256 minus 16x squared minus 32xh minus 16h squared. Step 1 is done. What is step 2? Remember, step 2 is to subtract. So step 2 is to subtract. Oh, I don't like to write all these down, but let's do it. Step 2 is to subtract s of x. So what I'm going to do here, because I'm using my iPad, I am going to, never mind. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it right here. So this is my s of x plus h. And what do? I subtract. What do I subtract? S of x. I'm going to copy this because I can. Oh my God, it's not letting me copy. Why? And I'm going to paste it right here. And remember what I told you, every time you paste it, you have to put that in parentheses so you're not messing up the signs. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute the sign and I'm going to rewrite it. And that's going to be, this is very light. And that's going to be 256 minus 16x squared minus 32xh minus 16h squared minus 256 plus 16x squared. And let's see if I can simplify anything. Positive 16, negative 16 cancel. Positive 256, negative 256 cancel. Keep in mind, what's the cheat sheet? You should only have terms that have h in there. So I am on the right track. And what's my step 3? My step 3 is to divide with h. So once I have this, negative 32xh plus 16h squared divide by h. Again, remember what I told you, I divide each term. So negative 32xh over h plus 16h squared over h. What do I get? I get negative 32x plus 16h. Let me cross check if I'm making any mistakes. Yes, perfect. That's my third step. So my third step is done. What's my step 4? Remember, step 4 is to just plug in your limits. So I'm going to plug in my limit. H goes to 0 to this one. So limit h goes to 0, negative 32x plus 16h. And again, as you can see, 32x does not have a h in there. So the limit doesn't matter. This is simply negative 32x plus, when h goes, let me write this down. I'm just going to write this part down here. This is limit h goes to 0, 16h. When h goes to 0, the h value is going to be 0. So 16 times 0 is 0. So this is going to be 0. So your velocity is negative 32x. Remember, the derivative, the differentiation is your velocity. And here, what does x stand for? X stands for the time, x seconds. Looks like I can't spell seconds. So your velocity is negative 32x. Very good. We got it. But what are they asking us? They said, what is the velocity, the object's velocity at the moment of impact? So what they're asking me is, hey, what is the velocity when this touches the ground? And what's the formula for velocity? Negative 32x, where x is the time. When does it touch the ground? Remember, at 4 seconds. So negative 32 times 4, which is 128, negative 128. Remember, velocity is the change. It's the rate of change of the distance with respect to time. Velocity is your speed. And here it is feet per over second. Okay? So as you see, it's 256 feet above the ground. If they say this is, now you must say, Miss, how is it feet? Because here they gave me the distance in feet. But if they gave this one in miles or kilometers, then it's going to be miles or kilometers per second. Okay? Again, you can rewind this and make sure you understand. Hope this helps.